Hi, and welcome to this virtual open day and open evening. I'm going to go through the youth and community work details at Newman University. So let's start. My name's Mike. There are three of us on the team, myself, Paulette Sawyers, and Pauline Grace. So let's have a look at the courses that we offer. Okay, so we offer essentially one course for you to enrol on, which is the Youth and Community Work BA Honours. But you can do that in two ways. So you can start off straight on the degree, or if you don't have a level 3 qualification, you can apply to undertake the BA Honours in Youth and Community Work with the foundation year as well. Both those courses run full time. The degree by itself is 3 years, and with the foundation year, it's 4 years. And there are more details on the university website about the foundation year approach. Basically, you'll be with a broader cohort of people who are doing other degrees, but with the foundation year as well. Okay, so youth and community work at Newman University. Well, currently, in the West Midlands, well, when I say currently, as of June 2020, we're the only BA Honours, the only undergraduate course in the West Midlands which offers the professional qualification in youth work. What that means is, it means that it's validated and monitored and quality assured by the National Youth Agency of England. Now they accredit and validate all the qualifications across the UK. In England, it's a National Youth Agency, and in other countries in the UK, they do it in association with their national assemblies. It's a very practice-oriented course. So in the second and third year, you'll be undertaking 400 hours of practice. That doesn't just mean you go to a workplace and do your hours. You're actually supervised by a professionally qualified youth worker, and you're assessed by them, and there's a rigorous assessment process. We have small cohorts. What that means is that we get to know you really, really well, and there's a really good sort of teacher-student and student-student relationship, and actually we use what we call the tutor group process as a real sort of fundamental basis for our teaching. So we do a lot of teaching in small groups, in the same small group throughout the 3 years of the degree. In the foundation year, you're also in a tutor group, but it's a larger tutor group, and you'll be with other people, as I said before, who are not necessarily only undertaking your particular discipline. I'm not going to read through all of the aims of the course, and you'll be able to look at the PowerPoint and obviously, repeat it as you wish. But I think what I want to say about it is that we are, as I said, we're an applied course. We're a practice-oriented course, and you're in professional settings throughout years 2 and 3. What that means is that we really, really want you to develop your own practice, your understanding of your own practice, so that you can be, you're critical, so you're self-critical. And that doesn't mean criticizing yourself all the time. What that means is that you really analyze your practice, interrogate your relationships with young people and with professionals, and essentially work out how you can do that better. So it's about self-development. It's about developing your own practice. It's about developing reflective practice. But it's also about you being able to articulate what it is that you do. So you'll be able to tell people what it is that you're doing, and you'll be able to defend the professional judgments that you make. Now the course is embedded in the most up-to-date and current sort of local and national research within the youth and community work fields, and we bring practitioners in who are both engaging in practice and in research throughout the course. In fact, it's practitioners that make up part of the assessment process, as I've said, as the field work. So you develop a load of transferable skills. I suppose again, and I'll probably come on to this in a minute, but what's important is that it's not, it's not just that you'll be looking for a job as a youth worker. There are lots of jobs that really make use and look for sort of youth work skills. Okay, yeah. So let's look at our vision for our graduates. Yeah, it's not just well, as most degrees, it's not just about doing a degree to get a degree, but it's about, if you haven't already, it's about developing a commitment and a passion for working, not just if you like working on young people. It's not about working on young people, but it's actually about working with and in partnership with young people, with broader communities of which young people are a part, and the range of agencies that work with young people as well. So it's really that sort of partnership. It's about developing the view that you are not there to solve problems. Okay, you are there as a practitioner to work with, and sometimes on behalf of, if they wish you to, young people. So it's about developing your critical reflective ability. Now, this term pedagogical practitioners, what that means is pedagogy is about is the if you like, the art and the science of educating, and we call youth workers informal educators, and it's about you as a practitioner developing your ability to continually learn in practice, and therefore to be able to continually educate in informal ways. And you're part of a community of practice. Professional youth workers have networks across the country. So the Federation for Detached Youth Work, for example, is one network. And there's the network of professional youth and community work lecturers as well. The National Youth Agency has a network that you can join up to. The Institute of Youth Work is a membership organisation that professional youth workers and non-professional youth workers pay to be a part of. So you're part of a collective of practitioners that are currently and constantly developing more collaborative ways to work. So that's what we aim for you to be part of as well. We're going to briefly look at some of the modules across the three levels of the course. And again, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm just going to pick out some of them. You'll see that the first year is kind of developing a broad understanding of youth and community work, as well as developing increasing your skills for studying at university level. You'll see that there are modules called something about applied reflective practice, and that's your field work. So in the first year, you'll be doing planning for applied reflective practice, which involves going out and visiting practitioners, finding out about different organisations, and working out which kind of organisations you'd like to do your practice in. And you'll be applying to those organisations and getting a letter of acceptance as well, if you're successful. So the whole practice process, you're not just given a placement. Okay, we help you to go out and seek it, and we have employers across the Midlands who are ready and willing for you to be approaching them for that as well. One of the fundamental things about the course is this thing about understanding self. So it's understanding groups and understanding self. You need to understand who you are and how you operate, your values, what motivates you, and it's not really until you understand that you can become effective at working with other people as well. And part of this understanding groups and self module is really getting to grips with understanding things like group dynamics, the roles that people take on in groups, how it is that people interact in group situations, and people's interactions and reactions. So in the second year and the third year, we've got what we call core modules and option modules. Critical pedagogy. I've said this thing, pedagogy is about education. Critical pedagogy is an approach an approach to education. And when I talk about education, I don't just mean in schools and universities. I mean in the broadest sense, informally, on the streets, in youth centres, in the health organisations, in social work settings. So it's how what are we doing as educators in those organisations and in those settings. And what it does, critical pedagogy, the critical aspect of it is that it gets you to consider and question and challenge some of those assumptions on which our society is based. And within this module, you start to question actually the notion of higher education as well. Intersectionality in youth and community work. So intersectionality is basically understanding the range of different ways in which different people are, if you like, oppressed, are discriminated against, and are victimized on a structural level, okay, by those social structures. And at any one point in time, one person can be affected in many different ways by those different intersections. So it's looking at race, it's looking at gender, it's looking at sexuality, it's looking at the way the political decisions are made, which impact on different people differently. So why is it, for example, that Black, Asian, and minority ethnic people are disproportionately affected by the current COVID-19 epidemic? Why is that the case? It's not genetic; it's something to do with societal structures. So, for example, applied reflective practice, as I've said, that's your fieldwork module, and in the second year of your degree, that takes place on a block placement basis in the second semester. And then you can select one of the options below, which are developed and run by some of the other programs within the university. So you get to, although you're in a tutor group, as I've said throughout, and you do the majority of your modules together, you get to work with some people from the other disciplines as well. In the third year, you'll be doing a dissertation, so that's a big piece of research project, which you will have prepared for in the second year. I've not talked about researching social issues, but you will be preparing for your dissertation as part of that module. It's estimated, or it's understood, that within sort of 5 years, most people who've graduated with the youth and community work course are expected to take on some serious management role. So management is a fundamental aspect of the course. So and actually, even on a project level, as a newly qualified person, you'll be expected to manage yourself, manage budgets, and manage some projects. So we bring management within that. Again, there's your applied reflective practice. So you'll see that there are fewer core modules in the third year. That's partly because the dissertation is a big module, but it's also actually so that you can broaden your area of interest as well. Okay. So each module is reflected in 3 hours a week of study time. So actually, in terms of lecture times, you'll be spending 9 hours a week in lectures. Now that sounds, well, that's not a lot. But actually, because of the way the course is set out, it requires you to be working in your groups quite a lot outside of those lecture times as well, and it is a full-time course. I can't stress that enough. It is a full-time course, and you will need to be, working full-time on your studies. So that's independent study by yourself, but also in your groups as well. I've indicated that we teach in small groups. The teaching style is very what we call dialogical and discursive. So it's not about standing at the front of the class and teaching to a room full of people. Okay, like I said, your year group is your tutor group, and you'll be entering into workshops, discussions, and conversations and debates, and you'll be bringing material in yourself from your own experiences, from your own reading, and from your own practice as well. There are a range of assessment methods, from your straightforward assignments to portfolios of evidence to gather together. So that will be, for example, a letter in your first year, a letter from prospective placement officers saying that they're happy to put you on placement. Gathering evidence of where you've met what we call the national occupation, or what is called the national occupational standards for youth work. There are group assignment tasks where you have group presentations. There are simulated tasks where you're expected to lead a group of people and be assessed on leading a group of people. And then really one of the real sort of fundamental aspects of it, as I've said, is assessing that practice. So you'll be monitored and assessed by an assessor in the field who will be making note of your practice, and you'll be meeting with your assessor regularly to have supervision sessions to discuss your practice and to reflect on your practice. So it's very much, I can't stress that enough, it's very much practice orientated. So in terms of support, you will have a tutor who is your tutor and part of your tutor group. We hope and we aim for that to be the same tutor throughout the 3 years of the degree. It might not. There might be personnel changes. So it might not mean that that's the case. But we aim to try and for you to have the same personal tutor throughout the 3 years of your degree. And what that means is that you get not just academic support in how to with support with writing assignments and support with referencing and all of that kind of stuff, and being signposted to different departments in the university, student support and library services and finance. But actually, we develop a group approach to sort of supporting each other. That's supporting each other with personal issues that are going on, but also challenging each other professionally as well. Sharing each other's practice and decisions and examples of practice that we made, and questioning each other on that as well. What that means is it really makes you sort of ready for practice. As I've said, you can articulate your practice, but we work closely as well with the careers department, and we have been doing for a number of years as well. So we have the careers department come in at least once a year, but we encourage you to meet with the careers team, because they're really fantastic in helping you apply for jobs, in helping you look in the right places for jobs, and to consider the right kind of search terms and what kind of jobs that aren't necessarily the traditional youth work or community work jobs that really appreciate and look for youth work skills. Some students have gone on to further study at master's level, and there are a range of extracurricular activities. There's loads of groups on offer and set up by the Students' Union, which you can sort of set up as well. So yeah, it's all good. There's a couple of quotes of some previous students, which you can see. They've had fantastic experiences and gone on to work in really interesting places. These interesting places are examples of. So we've, as I said, a lot of people go into management. So we've got project managers, we've got people who work in the faith sector, up and down the country. We've got people who worked in hospitals, work in A&E and with victims of knife crime. So we've got people who've moved into youth offending. I'm not going to read through that list. That's not very good practice. But you can see there's a range of different jobs, and these are real jobs that people have gone into. Examples of real jobs that people have gone into from doing the BA Honours in Youth and Community Work. So, to contact us, there's our standard email address, youthwork@newman.ac.uk. So myself and Paulette are the joint programme leaders, so we work really collaboratively, so we don't have just one programme leader, we share the programme lead. So if you want to contact us, I'm on extension 2551. Given that we're in COVID-19 at the moment, though, we are not in the office to answer calls, so email is the best approach, or really the only approach. Leave your details and we'll give you a ring back. All right, thanks for listening.